The Empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
Another major health threat, this one in Toledo, Ohio, where everybody in the entire city has been told not to drink the water.
Ohio's governor declaring a state of emergency.
Did you know that the average person uses about 80 to 100 gallons of water at home every single day? If there's a water emergency, will you be prepared?
Panicked residents forming long lines throughout the day.
We're here at a supermarket in Toledo. You can see the shelves empty where water once was.
To stay safe and healthy during a crisis, you must have access to safe, clean water. Water which will not be available at your local grocery store.
There's a mad dash on right now to stock up on supplies.
The ProPure Pro 1 G2.0 water filtration system is a must-have for every modern, independently minded household. Protect your family's safety during an emergency. Go to InfoWarsStore.com today to purchase your ProPure Pro 1 G2.0 water filtration system or call 1-888-253-3139.
You've heard about the essential qualities of iodine when it comes to your well-being, and you've read the opinions of top experts regarding this good member of the halogen family. Still, reports indicate that iodine is absent in sufficient amounts from the daily lives of countless people worldwide. Now, our extra-strength new nascent iodine formula is here, Survival Shield X2, leading the way into the next generation of super high-quality nascent iodine. InfoWars Life Survival Shield X2 is derived from 200+ million-year-old salt solutions found more than 7,000 feet below the Earth's surface. The result is a unique nascent iodine that is both concentrated and free of unwanted additives, genetically modified ingredients, and completely vegan. We even pre-screen our Survival Shield X2 iodine for radiation. Pure, clean, and sourced from deep within the Earth, X2 nascent iodine is available exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com, InfoWarsStore.com, or call 1-888-253-3139.
General, what do you think about the FBI saying that there's a terror alert on Monday about a potential Fort Hood situation?
The police are shoving people, shoving Alex, shoving the crowd.
Here we go, folks. I'm being assaulted.
Whether it's the radio show, the news websites, documentary films, or the nightly news, InfoWars is the tip of the spear.
Is this another false flag stage attack to take our civil liberties and put more homeland security while sticking their hands down on the pants on the streets?
It's up to us to set brush fires in the minds of men and women everywhere. And that's what PrisonPlanet.tv is designed to do.
You watch, the Assad regime is going to be blamed or accused of using chemical weapons against the so-called rebels.
What we see now is a war against reality. It's a war against the truth.
It's more vital than ever that supporters of freedom become members of PrisonPlanet.tv and share their membership with up to 11 friends and family. Visit InfoWarsNews.com today. Become a member, share your membership, and help take the InfoWar to the next level.
We are on the march. The Empire is on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
It's Paul Joseph Watson filling in for Alex Jones. It's the live Friday edition of the Alex Jones Show. Quick news update here before we go to the Stan Monteith clip. Toronto Hospital testing patient for possible case of Ebola. Patient at Toronto Hospital is being tested for Ebola, as well as other possible illnesses. So we have that. We have the case in DC that we're continuing to monitor. But now we're going to go to an interview with Stan Monteith, who sadly passed away a few days ago. He was a big inspiration for me way back in 2001. Same, obviously, for Alex Jones. And here is Stan Monteith in his most recent interview before he passed away, talking to Alex Jones back in June 2014. Here's the interview.
Dr. Stan Monteith of RadioLiberty.com has been fighting tyranny for over 40 years. 35 years he was an orthopedic surgeon in Santa Cruz. He led a delegation of physicians to the House Delegates of California Medical Association for 10 years. He's reached millions of people. He's a best-selling author. He wrote AIDS, the Unnecessary Epidemic, and documented that it was basically a bioweapon pointed at minorities. This is a guy that's broadcast 6 hours a day on 4 different radio shows he would do to over 100 affiliates for decades. And when we talk about the icons like Ron Paul and so many others that have come before us, the Red Beckmans, the G. Edward Griffins, the Anthony Suttons, There have been so many. Dr. Stan Monteith is owed just an incredible debt. And that's why people tell me how great I am all day or what a wonderful job I've done. Again, he isn't here for credit. In fact, he doesn't want credit. He didn't want to talk about his illness. But I want everybody to pray for Dr. Stan, but also just be thankful for Dr. Stan Monteith, because so much of what we know today was because of him. And he has a book and film archive that he's offered for us to go into and copy. We haven't had the time or energy. We were out here interviewing him a few years ago. He had the flu and would go and lay down because we'd flown out there for about 30 minutes, go be sick in the bathroom, come out, do 30-minute interview, come back and do it again. That's the dedication of a doctor, a medical doctor, like Ron Paul, like Dr. Larry McDonald. So many of the great super patriots have been medical doctors, and we just are so thankful for Dr. Stan Monteith. And I know today before he came on, he said, I don't want to talk about me. He told the folks this morning, I don't want to talk about my illness. I want to come on and talk about what's happening in Iraq and what's happening here and about the big picture. But I talked to him before the break. I said, people care about you, and we need to talk about it and discuss it. So Dr. Stan Monteith, thank you so much for coming on with us, my friend. And we just are really thankful for all you've done. How many years have you been fighting the New World Order? I know it's over 40, isn't it?
Started in 1962, so it's been 52 years.
52, okay. I was going off an old bio, so 52. Tell folks a little bit about yourself, and then tell folks about what you're going through right now.
Well, basically, I'm a retired orthopedic surgeon. I do 5 hours of talk radio 5 days a week, and what a privilege it is to get the information out. Now, as far as my illness is concerned, I have a T-cell lymphoma, which, of course, I had no idea until suddenly the lymph nodes came up all over. But fortunately, why we have here in Santa Cruz some excellent conventional doctors tied into Stanford, and they started me on chemotherapy, and all the lymph nodes are gone. Now, I also certainly am taking the finest alternative medicine, and we have several friends I've known for many years. One of them, Dr. Russell Blaylock. I think he's the finest alternative medical specialist in the country, and he's outlined a program for me of alternative treatments. And I'm guardedly optimistic about it. What's going to happen? All we can do is wait and see and pray. It's really in God's hands. But we do covet the prayers of your listeners, Alex, and hope that people, if God wants me here for another 3 or 4 or 5 years, why, they will be here. I really sort of want to see what's happening, because we are entering a very, very difficult time, and I'm really very, very concerned about what's going on over there in the Middle East. And let me just comment that basically what we're seeing in the Middle East today, with this war in Iraq, is exactly what we saw during the Second World War. What am I talking about? Well, basically, we are funding the Shia Muslims in Iraq. We are funding the Sunni Muslims in Iraq. We're funding both sides. And it really doesn't make sense unless you understand World War II. And this is one of my recent studies. And the most frightening thing is the realization that we funded the Nazis all during World War II.
Just like Anthony Sutton in the congressional hearings confirmed what McCarthy has said, the Soviets were funded all along by the robber barons, even during the Vietnam War. That's all declassified now. Our own government put Mao Zedong in to kill 80+ million of his own people. It's the globalists above the nations playing them off against each other.
Absolutely. We funded both sides during the Vietnam War. But more than that, I mean, we funded the Nazis during the Second World War, and basically the information is there. The books have been written by responsible people. Anthony Sutton wrote about this, and at the time it just didn't make any sense. But now there's a fellow named John Loftus who's written a book called America's Nazi Secrets, and John has had a security clearance 3 levels above top secret.
That's right. He was at the highest levels of the Justice Department and in national security with the FBI. We've had him on the show, and he's confirmed that it wasn't just a rat line, that the Nazis were fully in a double deal with the West. Well, you know about the McCormick-Dickstein committees.
Sure.
They tried to overthrow the U.S. in the mid-30s, but Smedley Butler blew the whistle on them. We almost went under not even a Nazi regime, but under a eugenics regime funded by the globalists, but then the globalists double-crossed the Nazis themselves. That's why Hitler was on the cover of Time magazine twice as Man of the Year as a great guy.
Well, you know, one of the most incredible stories is of the escape of Adolf Hitler. Now, I would say that there's not one person in 1,000 in America who believes that Adolf Hitler didn't die in the bunker there in Berlin. I mean, we've been told that for years. And yet, of course, I've actually talked to at least 3 men who've been to South America who talked to the people who took care of Adolf Hitler till he died in 1965. Adolf Hitler was allowed to escape to South America. He and even lived there comfortably, for a number of years, for almost 20 years after the war ended. And the fact that they've been able to conceal that information from the American people is simply a reflection of the degree of control that exists over almost every means of dissemination of information in the United States, except for alternative media, which is what you do so well. Well, I mean, this is the most amazing story. We have actually several books written by people who have looked into this, and one is written, I'm sure you know Dr. Jerome Kersey, and he's certainly a very reliable, Harvard-trained person, writes for WorldNet Daily, and he's written a book on Hitler's escape. There's another one called The Great Wolf, another one written by a fellow named who writes The Shark Hunters, and basically Adolf Hitler escaped. Now, if that is true, then it means that almost everything we have been told by the media through the years is a lie, and as you and I both know, it is a lie. And until we can get the American people to understand we've been lied to, and we are being lied to, nothing's going to change. But if we're going to turn this thing around, we're going to have to get people informed, and then they're going to have to get involved. And one of the biggest problems is, Alex, is that the average individual, well, he may vote or he may not vote, and he's going to tell other people, but people have to start getting involved in the local political system, in their communities. We're going to have to take America back from the bottom up, because there's control from the top down. And basically the other side's working every day. Our people don't even want to spend one night a week involved. I mean, I would say to every one of your listeners, you've got to get started today, putting it at least one day a week in the political process locally, supporting the local politicians who are honest, get rid of the local politicians who are bad, contribute your money, help get the information out, start talking to people, and get them involved in the political process, and simply change our entire local structure. We need to change our boards of supervisors, our city councils, our school boards, and we need to start taking America back. And if we don't do it, we're going to lose by default. And
well, undoubtedly, if it wasn't for you and so many others that came before you in the last 52 years that you've been fighting, they would have already gotten their program through. But in their globalist own words, they admit they're trying to create an artificial, synthetic reality for us,
right,
encapsulated where everything's basically like Times Square, with their disinformation overthrowing reality so they can sell us on all of the unnatural things they want to do. They want to play God. And when you find out that all the major things we've been told are a lie, and then you look at how anti-human the controllers are, you come to the realization that they are occultist. And I know in your book, bestseller, Brotherhood of Darkness, that WorldNet Daily and others helped put out, that you break this down. All these different cults, all these different groups, Skull and Bones, the Illuminati, you name it, they're all really satellites of the same fellow traveler system. Doctor, can you speak to the Brotherhood of Darkness and what their goal is?
Well, basically, how do you make any sense out of what's going on? People will always tell you the enemy is communism. No, we finance communism since its inception. The enemy is fascism and the Nazis. And basically, this is all lies. I mean, how do you understand what's going on? How do you understand the series of wars we had, the First World War, the Second World War, and the coming Third World War? Well, you can only understand this when you understand that there is another